Well?
Is there anything you need? I'm ready.
Yes?
Yes?
We'll make short work of them.
Really? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Shit! Help me, for heck's sake!
I'm injured. What do you require?
What's next? Yes? Whatever's necessary.
Corporal?
What?
Is there anything you need?
What's next? Corporal? Yes.
They will fall. Sure.
I am ready.
What do we need?
That's all. I'm only getting started.
Well?
Anything on your mind?
Yes?
Finally.
I understand.
I'll do what's required.
They will
You
burn.
read my mind.
Blazes! Help
Yes.
me, somebody!
Good. Now let's find the other one.
Shit.
Help me, for heck's sake! Help me, somebody!
Shit.
Help me, for heck's sake!
Killed one of our heroes.
Yes?
Blazes! Help me!
Killed one of our heroes.
That shouldn't happen again. Yes? Fine. Uh-huh.
That should not have anything you need.
Back into the fight. On your mind?
Corporal?
Really?
Sure. Sure.
What's next?
I'm only getting started.
Blazes, that's Lady Myra Utran. We need to help Iskrim.
Yes?
Die already!
Blazes! What's the matter with her?
All right, one more step and I'll slit my throat.
Lady Myra, what?
Shut up!
Tell me one reason I shouldn't kill you.
Let me think. How about the fact that if I die, the Utran lands will fall into chaos and you'll have another civil war at hand? Just what you need right now, isn't it? Not to mention that the poor, precious Lord Marshal would be heartbroken losing his sister like that.
I hate to say it, but she's right.
But I don't understand.
Explain yourself. Oh, Tahar, you must understand the situation. So here's what's going.
Lady Myra, what?
You heard me. So, Tahar, what shall it be?
You're bluffing.
Try me.
Fine.
A man. One more thing, though.
What?
You will repent. All of you.
Yes.
Niehaus hammer. What? I mean, what was that?
I have absolutely no idea. Now would you...
That is... Wait, I have a theory.
About what happened to Myra?
Yeah, but let's talk about that later. I think this entrance should be safe for now. The Death Towers will make sure of that. But what about the rest of the city?
I'm on it. We'll meet at the Nexus when, if, this mess is taken care of. Be on your guard, Iskrim.
Of course. Thank you again, Tahar. I'm glad you're back.
Let's hope it's not too late. we need.
What?
What do you require?
Taha, you're awake.
Shit. So they've already breached the outer walls.
They will soon. That masked thing on the other side. I don't know how he does it, but he's draining me.
Drain.
Iria!
Blazes, what kind of magic is that? Ready yourself, Tahar! You picked the wrong enemies.
Shit! Help me for heck's sake! Shit! Help me for heck's sake!
I'm injured.
Blazes! Help me, somebody! One down!
Not the real
Killed
one.
one of our heroes.
I'm injured.
Help me for heck's sake!
Another illusion.
Who would have guessed? Who was that?
I saw him around McCain before. If I had to make a guess, I'd say he's one of his commanders. Come, let's check on Iria and the Scryer.
I am ready. I'll be swift.
Will do.
Is there anything you need?
Ellen's reins. What happened?
The barrier gave up.
Blazes. For someone who just came back from the dead, you're in good shape. Whatever your mother did to you, it seems to help. What about that masked fellow? Where is he?
We've taken care of him, at least for now. Are you injured?
No, just a scratch. Seems like Scryer Elion got the worst of it.
Can you take care of her? We have to make sure the other entrances are safe.
Yes. I'll get her to the Nexus as quick as possible. Be careful, Corporal. I have a feeling that masked priest wasn't Lacane's only ace up the sleeve.
Probably not. Stay safe, Iria.
All the more reason to hurry.
Are you deaf? I said no! That machine will squash you like an insect! You're here. Good. I assume that means the Northwest is secured.
It is. How about you?
Well, we managed to fend off their first attack. They aren't Purity, though.
What then?
Mercenaries. They don't have a banner, so they could be about anyone. Thing is, they've put up a siege weapon of sorts right up that hill, which prevents us from retaliating.
What kind of weapon?
I don't know. It looks like some kind of catapult, but it seems to be magic-fueled and throws fireballs which cause massive damage. We're out of reach, but the moment we move against their camp, it'll decimate us within seconds.
Whereas, if you attack the machine directly, the mercenaries themselves will fall into your backs.
Or swarm right into the city, yes. We weren't enough to split up, but now we are. Good timing, in other words.
So you want us to destroy that weapon?
Yes. The moment it is down, we'll go for their strong point.
Understood. Let's get this done.
Really?
Of course.
There it is. Take it down.
Shit! Kill them!
Blazes! Help me, somebody!
I'm injured. Corporal?
Easy. Child's play.
That should do it.
Then we should join Angar. He'll need help with his attack.
I'm
Help me, somebody!
I'm injured.
What's next?
So much.
They will fall.
Killed one of our heroes.
I'm injured. Get up.
Yes? Blazes. This is Commander Katras from Aenir's Deathmen.
So he's fighting for the Purity now.
Corporal Tahar. What a surprise.
Katras, why?
Don't talk, friend. Fight.
Yes.
What do you require?
Yes.
Blazes, Tahar. Now I know why Lacane wants you dead. You really know how to fight.
Why, Katras? Why side with the Harbinger?
Blazes, you do like your dramatic lines, don't you? Look, this isn't personal. Lacane and his fanatics took down my camp and gave me a choice. Repent and accept the light, or have some stern-faced priest ram a bloody pike up me.
Ah, Tahar. Never mind.
Something on your mind?
Well, maybe. Remember when you asked me about Rain? The other gifted shaman from my tribe?
Yeah? What about it?
I want to talk about it. I'm not supposed to, but I don't know. I trust you, Tahar, and I've kept silent about this for far too long. Zarek's fangs, this is so silly. I feel like a damn child.
I'm not forcing you.
Right. Where do I start? Before becoming a shaman, every disciple has to go through a trial. The Iron Trial, as it's called. I told you that I did most of my training in solitude, didn't I? That wasn't true. 5 years after I entered disciplehood, another orc was accepted by my elder. A female named Rain. She was 2 years younger than me.
I thought only male orcs can be gifted.
No, it's just that for female orcs, it's even rarer to have magic, which is why there are close to no female shamans.
How did you get along?
Well, at first, I was a complete dick to her. I was jealous and feared for my position. However, she never took offense by it. She fired back at me when I got childish, but at the same time never lowered herself to my level. As the years went by, we became friends. And no, there was no courting or mating involved, if that's what you're thinking. She was more like a sister to me, and one who, unlike my true kin, understood me. Those years in the Orcish steppes, they were special. We spent days, weeks out in the wild, doing whatever our elder tasked us with. And though it was hard, there was beauty in that. We just had this connection between us, this trust.
Sounds like friendship to me.
Yeah, friendship. I never had a connection like that again, and I rarely talk about it. One time I did, the orc I told it to laughed right in my face. He thought it was ludicrous, a male spending time with a female who wasn't his mate. He stopped laughing when I broke his nose.
But something happened, am I right?
Yeah, the trial did. The sacred test every disciple has to take before he or she can become a shaman. Our elder sent us both at the same time, which was unusual. But of course I was relieved. There was plenty of talk about the Iron Trial, and I was scared.
How did Rain feel about it?
Same as I. Believe me, Tahar, only a fool would have entered into the trial with a smug smile on his face. We knew what was ahead of us.
What did you know about the trial?
Rumors. Shamans are forbidden to talk about it. But it was known that only half of those who take it return at all.
So what happened?
Zarek's fangs. I can't believe I'm telling you this. I'm breaking my oath.
For what it's worth, I'll keep silent about it, I promise.
I know you will, Tahar. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We weren't told much about the trial. Only that we'd have to venture to a cave, far up in Bargar Gore. They also didn't tell us how to get there. Only that Zarek would guide us. And he did. After a week of traveling, we found it. It was a strange place, Tahar. I saw that right from the beginning. The entrance looked like a mouth, the rocks surrounding it like the bones of an old forgotten beast, and the stalagmites like hundreds of teeth. But of course, we went in. We had to.
What did you find?
A giant hall. It was as mesmerizing as it was unsettling. There were murals and carvings all over the cave walls, old glyphs that I'd never seen before.
Shaper glyphs, maybe?
No, not Shaper. They looked as if the Guardians themselves had carved them into the rock.
Interesting. What else was there?
Nothing. That's what baffled me. Apart from those murals, the hall was completely empty. And for some reason, the ground in that hall was completely smooth, like polished stone. There were braziers, one in each corner of the hall, and they were burning brightly. Rain was as confused as I was. But nonetheless, we entered the hall. And that's when the trouble began. Because all of a sudden, the exit was gone. No magical noise, nothing. Just in that moment when we looked the wrong direction, it disappeared. And instead of it, we were looking at another wall.
How is that even possible? Maybe it was an illusion.
That was our first thought too, but it wasn't. That new wall was as solid as every other rock in that hall.
Strange. What did you do?
Well, after we calmed down a little, we assessed our situation. We figured that this was the Iron Trial, and that it was our task to find another exit. So we started looking. But it was pointless. There was nothing. We couldn't even hear the wind anymore. For the next 14 days, we were trapped. We couldn't make that wall disappear, and no matter how long we studied the glyphs, how long we prayed, nothing happened. On the 5th day, our provisions had come to an end, save for half a skin of water and a handful of jerky. On the 8th day, it was all gone.
Blazes. How did you survive?
I'm getting there. As you can imagine, the thirst was the worst. It drove us mad, and we searched every corner of that goddamn hall for just a drop of water. Not that we hadn't looked before, but as you know, hope dies last. Have you ever had thirst, Tahar? Real thirst?
Yes.
Then you know what it feels like. On the 11th day, Rain and I were puking our guts out. Our skin had literally started to crack, and I felt as if I was burning from within. On the 12th day, we were only an inch from death. That's when the dream came.
A dream?
Yes, a shared dream, almost like a vision. We were still in that hall, Rain and I, but we were out of our bodies, floating like spirits. At first I thought we had died, then I saw what was different. The floor was full of blood, and that blood was burning. The murals and glyphs had started moving, twisting, like shadows dancing on a wall. That's when I first understood what they were depicting. For some reason in the real world, I'd never been able to.
What did they depict?
It showed what was expected from us, what we had to do to get out. Sorry this isn't easy. I've dreamed about those weeks ever since. But telling someone, it feels bizarre. Zarek demanded a fight.
Truth be told, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and it shouldn't have surprised me either. But for some reason, I don't know. He had known Tahar, our elder, our master. He had known that it would come to this, yet he still decided to send the two of us out at once.
So you fought each other?
No. Trial or not, I would have rather died than done that. And that's precisely what I told Rain. A god that demands a man to kill his own sister is not a god that deserves worship by anyone. But Rain wouldn't have it. She claimed that if both of us died, both of our lives would be wasted for nothing. I got angry and asked her if she meant that she wanted to fight me. She said no.
I don't understand.
She wanted me to kill her. She told me that she was already too weak to make it down the mountain anyway, but that I could still make it. Believe me, Tahar, if there had been any strength left in me, I would have punched her just for suggesting it.
Did you ever consider sacrificing yourself?
No. I know it makes me sound like a coward, and maybe that was part of the reason why I didn't. But the sane part of my mind still believed that there had to be another way. That all this was just some cruel joke, and the cave we had found maybe wasn't Zarek's after all.
And yet, you're here.
I am. I should have known before she even did it. She always had to have it her way, no matter the price. It happened when I was asleep. She took my dagger from its sheath, put it into my hand, and drove it through her throat without hesitation. When I opened my eyes, her blood was already all over my face. And as if Zarek had been watching all along, the wall disappeared. No noise. Just like that. The wind was back, and it was raining outside. The first time in months. I like to think that she saw it before she died.
Did you make the descent?
I did. There were berries in a mountain goat that had been hit by a rock slide, right next to the exit. It was so absurd I almost had to laugh. When I got back to the Elder's shack, I screamed at him, then broke down and started to cry. He just listened. In the end, he told me that we had both known what had been at stake. Yet we agreed. Choice and consequence. He made me a shaman the next day.
Do you blame yourself sometimes?
Of course I do. But ultimately, it was her choice. And all I can do to honor her now is to respect it.
I see.
There's one more thing. Remember when you asked me why I feel the way I do about our culture? Why I think we orcs should strive for more? It's Rain who made me realize that. Most orcs would have fought each other in that cave, to the death. But she didn't. Instead of submitting to her primal instincts, she made a sacrifice. One that I could have made too, if I hadn't been such a coward. Blazes, it feels strange to have told you all this. But, I don't regret it.
Well, thanks for trusting me with this, Gore.
Let me have some time for myself right now, all right? I need to think.
Tahar, ready to discuss the next steps?
There's just one thing I still can't wrap my head around. How did Lacane become so powerful? How could he rally so many people behind him?
The big question, isn't it? In the end, I think it boils down to the fact that he poured salt into the wounds the Mage Wars had left in Northander. You see, it's not hard to rally people behind you if they are desperate enough. He just gave them a simple answer to a complex question. And the people believed him. Though I don't consider him a pragmatist, he really believes in what he says, that Aeonia will return once mankind has repented, which worries me even more. There's nothing more dangerous than fanaticism fueled by magical power. Your father is the best example.
I want to talk about Sentenza, his death.
Well, what is there to say? As I heard the story, he didn't leave you much choice.
So you're not angry?
For you defending your life? No. I never understood why he was so obsessed with hunting you down to begin with.
But he was acting on your orders.
Well, yes, strictly spoken, he was. You were a traitor. Or at least, that's what we thought back then. That witch hunt in Iskander, the battle at the Eye, that was his choice.
I see. You didn't tell me yet. How exactly did you get here? Weren't you in Greyfell when the Harbinger took over?
No, I wasn't. Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing here. But we were on our way back the night it happened. As you can imagine, it was a hard choice to make. But eventually, I left my pride behind and realized attacking Greykeep with the little division I was traveling with would have been suicide.
So you fled?
We retreated. The rest is simple. We went to Iskander because we had heard the rumors about your army. There we met one of your scouts, and then the elven woman, Iria of Finon Mir.
Oh, she decided to let you in?
Correct. You know the rest. Your people were a bit distrustful at first, and I don't blame them. After all, they'd been fighting the Royal Army not too long ago. But eventually, they realized that we were on the same side.
I hope that we are.
We are. Trust me.
Yes?
I was hoping you'd come by. That was quite the surprise visit, wasn't it? The Harbinger couldn't have picked a better time for his attack.
I guess you could say that. How's your injury? That blast from the barrier looked quite painful.
The blast? Oh yeah, sure. I'm as good as new. One of the perks of being a light mage. Tahar, I'm sorry. For everything.
What do you mean?
Well, what you discovered in that dungeon. I didn't see that coming, honestly. I mean, I'd always felt you were different, but an experiment of your father? I would have never guessed. And now that bastard Lacane took your mother. It's just, one tragedy follows another. Now I feel almost ridiculous thinking about my supposed problems.
We can still save her.
Yeah, I know. And we will. Blazes. How crazy does that all sound? A half-shaper whose mother's spirit has been stolen by a religious fanatic. If all this weren't actually happening, I'd think I'd be watching a bad play. Though you'd definitely be the tragic hero in this, and I don't envy you.
A bit of normality would be nice for a change.
I can imagine. Tell me, Tahar, if you had had the choice, would you have wanted to know? About your mother and how you were born?
Well, what about you? Your father also never told you who your mother was. Would you want to find out?
Good question. On the one hand, yes, I think I would. But then again, I never made any serious efforts to find out. I guess in the end it wouldn't have really mattered. She is dead, I know that much. And whether she was a priestess of the White Tree or a slum dweller, it wouldn't have changed the fact that she wasn't there when I grew up. But you're a different story. Your mother is still alive. And she's a shaper. I mean, doesn't that change everything? Would you really have wanted to know?
Yes. It's always better to know the truth.
Is it? Sometimes I wonder if the truth doesn't just make it all worse. Anyway, shaper or not, it's good to have you back. Honestly, there were times when I was worried you wouldn't ever wake up again.
I'm touched.
You better be. Anyway, in case you were wondering, I'm not planning to leave now. If you need my help, I'll be here.
You don't need to stay. You know that, right? Our work with the Purity is over, and nothing's stopping you from going back on the road.
Safer than mage-murdering Lightbringers, right? Look, unless you want me to leave, I'll stay, and I'll fight. And no, I'm not trying to sound heroic. Apart from the fact that there's worse company than you, the dwarf, and the others we picked up along the way, I can't just stand by and watch while those bloody fanatics do their best to plunge this world into yet another war.
Thanks, Iria. I really appreciate it.
Great. And now that we've got that out of the way, you should get some more sleep. You still look like a walking corpse. Don't make a habit out of it. I'll talk to you later. Corporal? Need anything?
You never told me why you fled Finon Mir.
Fair enough. You've given me little reason to distrust you, so... Oh well. Let's just get this over with. I already told you about my father, how to him I had always been more of an asset. Well, after my father died, I decided to become a novice.
A novice?
Someone aspiring to be a priest of Ellen. I don't know why I did it. It was something my father had always considered a backup plan if an arranged marriage wouldn't work out. Part of it was probably because obeying my father was all I knew at that time.
What does life as a priest of Ellen look like?
Boring. Though not as boring as a Northander monk's life. You are free to have family and to indulge in the earthly pleasures. Still, your life is devoted to worship. And for a priest of Ellen, that means healing the sick and preserving Ellen's greatest gift, nature.
Was it difficult to receive the novitiate?
Not for me. First of all, I was a good candidate. I was still very young, not even in my 30s. And I already knew a great deal about magic and healing. Secondly, I was, after all, pure blood. That helped as well.
But something happened.
Yes. In my first year, I fell in love. That crazy, hot-blooded, head-over-the-heels kind of love that the bards all sing about. The boy felt the same way, and for the next year it was, well, it was perfect. It was the two of us against the world. Maybe you know that feeling.
And the priests didn't mind?
Priestesses. Only women are allowed to teach. And no, they didn't. Elves consider love to be a blessing of Ellen. Forbidding it would be near absurd. I have no clue where your monks got that idea from. Though, of course, that boy and I tried to, restrain ourselves when the situation demanded it.
What was his name?
Doesn't matter.
Huh. And I guess your romance didn't end well.
You guess right. But it was more than that. You know, I told you how I always felt estranged around other people. I knew how to put on a smile, how to make myself fit in, but it was always fake. Shallow. With him, it was different. Dramatic as it may sound, I thought I had finally found someone who understood me. Then there was the novitiate. Despite all the time I sunk into doing the crazy things lovers often do, I never failed as a student. Or, no, let's put it another way. I was the best, in every aspect.
Which didn't sit well with some people.
No. And eventually, they made sure I felt it. They excluded me from everything, stared at me when I walked by. It hurt, yes, but I convinced myself it didn't. I've always been good at that.
Did it take a toll on your relationship with that boy?
More than that. My lover's friends started manipulating him. Telling him that I only saw him as my pet, that he was a failure, and that I only kept him around to feel good about myself.
That's toxic.
It was. And their seeds met fertile ground. You see, we novices all knew that only 4 out of 20 will be granted priesthood at the end of our training. And being a failed novice leaves you with a mark you'll keep for the rest of your life. It all looked peaceful on the surface, but beneath that it was an arena. And these other novices, they made sure my friend became aware of that fact. To him, I started being a rival as well. And do you want to know the biggest joke of it all? I didn't see it. The idea that, I don't know, that he would listen to them. That he would ever reach a point where he'd put what we had below his hurt pride and his fears. It never crossed my mind.
So what happened?
Well, he knew I was curious by nature, so one night when we were in bed together, he suddenly asked me if I wanted to go on an adventure. Of course I said yes. So we snuck out into the cloister's courtyard. It was beautiful. The night was cloudless, and the old oak, our cloister shrine, had just begun to bloom. We made our way to the library building, but of course the door was locked. Out of nowhere, he pulled a key, grinning at me, and opened it. It was insane. As you can imagine, priests aren't known for being lenient towards these kinds of trespassings. We were risking our novitiate, and I didn't even know the reason, but I liked it. And we were doing it together, weren't we? It was exciting. He took my hand and we went to the High Priestess's office. We opened the door and went inside, and there he finally told me what we were here for, to open the grimoire.
Grimoire?
The High Priestess's spellbook. It was a stupid idea. And if I hadn't been so blind, so bloody naive, I should have seen it by then. But I didn't.
What did he ask you to do?
To open it and try to read one of the spells. He teased me. told me that I wouldn't be able to do it. You know? Saying it like that. It sounds so bloody stupid, doesn't it? But again, I was too blind. I laughed. I wanted to impress him, so I gave him a kiss. Opened the page and started saying the words. Long story short, I lost control. The spell was too much for me to handle and it misfired. One moment I was staring at the pages, the next one, the library was aflame and my lover was gone.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. I was the one too stupid to see it coming.
How far did that fire spread?
Not far. It was put out before it could do real damage. But, of course, that was the end of novitiate. I was thrown into the cell of shame and sentenced to 12 years of polishing prayer banks and cleaning floors in the shrine.
Did you try to tell the priestesses the whole story?
No, I just sat there and smiled. Of course I did. But my love had all his friends to back him up. To them, it wasn't even a trial. It was a feast.
Your lover, did he regret it?
I think so. The only bloody gratification I ever got from this. But even if he would have confessed and begged me to take him back, I couldn't have. All that connection, that trust, it was gone. Worse, it was tainted.
But you never did polish those prayer banks, am I right?
No. In the night after the trial, they still let me sleep in my chamber. Thoughtlessness, I suppose, or maybe they simply didn't care. I got my things, left, and never came back. So, here it is, the whole truth. No dark secrets, no assassinations, no necromantic rituals. Just a plain old broken heart. Compared with all that shit you had to go through, it almost sounds ludicrous.
It doesn't. Being betrayed by someone you trust often hits the hardest.
Yeah, I guess. It's just, I don't get it. How could he give all that up? I mean, there was something between us, you know? Something rare, something precious. But no, he threw it all away for his fucking vanity. But in a way, it's just a continuation of what I've always known. Wherever I am, I'm a stranger. People don't like me, and I don't like them.
For what it's worth, I'm glad our paths crossed.
Yeah, me too, Corporal. Me too. I'd like some space now. I hope you don't mind. Let's talk later.
To this day, the Shaper's magical and technological prowess remains unrivaled. One thing is clear, none of their marvels would have been possible without an incredible amount of magical energy. According to Iskrim, this is it, the heart of the Nexus, the source of the Shaper's power.
Will do.
Tahar, thank Nihal if you're awake. For a while, I wasn't sure you'd make it. How do you feel? Out on the battlefield, we didn't really get the chance to talk.
Could be worse.
Well, that's good to hear. It's a tragedy. The purity on the loose, with the power of the Archfire in the Harbinger's hands. Who could have seen that coming? For what it's worth, I'm sorry I had to go through this. I truly am.
I always had my doubts about Lacane. Only I didn't expect this to happen.
I figure.
Be that as it may, all that matters now is that we stop him. What about you, Iskrim? I doubt whatever bargain you struck with Lacane still stands. You're still here. So I guess you aren't planning on leaving.
Me? No, of course not. Where would I go, Tahar? There's no way of knowing what the Purity would do if they caught me. He wanted to kill you, so maybe Lacane doesn't want to leave any witnesses. Not to mention that we're still in the ancient Shaper City, full of marvels waiting to be discovered.
Well, I'm glad you're able to see it that way.
A frown hasn't helped anyone yet, has it? There's, one more thing I wanted to ask you. It's about your mother. About Andra.
Ask.
I'm not sure how to say this, but she was a Shaper. A living Shaper.
What are you getting at?
All tragedy aside, you have to understand how fascinating this is. A Shaper who survived through the Aeons. And as if that weren't enough, you even turn out to be related. I have so many questions, Tahar, so many questions. Iria said at the moment Andra and you melded, she made you see something. Fragments of her past. Now, I can't help but wonder, what was it? Did you see Mullendir in all its former glory?
I didn't see anything. It's more like I suddenly have that sense of familiarity. Especially here.
But that's even more exciting. She must have transferred some of her memories onto you. I wonder if that's part of this melding ritual. Look, Tahar, I'm not sure how to say this, but how would you feel about it if I examine her? There's so much we could learn from her, even if her mind has left her body.
What do you mean by examine? We're not talking about a dissection, are we?
What? No, of course not.
Why? What are you hoping to gain from that?
You mean apart from being able to examine the body of a living Shaper? There's much we could learn. Maybe we could even find something that helps us fight Lacane.
If you really think it helps, all right, do it.
You really just said that? Point me, Half. Thank you. It'll be a while before I can start, but I'll do so as soon as possible. Thank you, Tahar. Thank you. Yeah, do you need something? I'm a tad busy.
I'd still like to know more about how you ended up in Nortender.
Bugger and blast. And here I was hoping you'd forgotten. All right, I'll tell you.
Yes?
That I get to ask you a personal question too.
I'm not sure.
Well then, I suppose we'll stay strangers.
What exactly is it that
Oh, Tahar, that's quite a topic. I don't mind sharing, but...
I am.
All right. You see, you'd first tell me, Tahar.
Sometimes, yeah.
Absolute. But this chut, did you know?
You seem to consider that...
Oh, good. And it
And yet, they do.
Yeah.
Most scholars...
They do, but regarding what? Because to many...
Maybe you're right.
There is, in any case.
I see. Well, thanks for the explanation, Iskrim. I appreciate it. Found out anything new about the route?
Well, so far, all I can say is that what Lacane has given you... Now,
which means that the Shapers and...
Somehow, yes. And I'll find out.
I've been meaning to ask... all right.
No sweat, Tahar. It's fine.
How does one make...
Good question. For some obscure reason.
How do you explain?
Well, what do you think? Blasted that, but no. For some reason, the people with the coin just don't care.
True.
Well, I suppose. Yet, here I am now.
What are your thoughts on the harp?
Well, it's my employer.
I was trying to say...
Oh, that.
Don't you care who...
Truth be told, and in all... It sounds funny when you think about it, but those lads were dead serious.
I'm sorry, it's...
Oh, now you're bluffing.
If dozens have made...
Fair enough. Maybe you have a point.
There's something I've been wondering.
Well, that was simple. One night...
Molandir.
Yeah. You know the rest of the story.
I'd still like to know more.
Bugger and blast.
Yes?
That I get to ask you a personal question too.
Then we have a deal.
Fair enough. I was born in the Windwall Mountains.
You don't say.
Sorry. All right. One.
Come again?
A true... My family...
I think so.
Figures. I learned for...
But I...
Oh, no, they did. On the contrary.
So, what...
I'm getting there. That time, they smiled at me. Talked of me as the...
Huh.
Well...
To Gilead?
My,
You had a partner?
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. The Blackstone Rebellion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. First, one point, finally, by me. Forgive me. It's... You can imagine. Then he left.
What happened then?
I ran. I left my family a letter.
I see. And since...
Yeah.
What?
There's a third reason that it can...
I see.
Yeah.
Right.
Your past. Now, I was wondering... If you could trade that past...
Of course I would.
That's what I thought. Either way.
Sure. Take care, Iskrim.
Tahar, may I help you with something?
Goodbye.